Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our, what day is it today? Wednesday morning trading room. Hang on here a moment. We'll get the screen share going on. All right, so yesterday, a pretty good session overall. The market making some decent moves and then following into a bit of a sideways funk for the rest of the day, which is to be anticipated after the market makes a strong move. I was just looking at the overnight here before the market opened up here this morning, and you can see that since the market let off, the European or the North American session still around 7,400. What a strong number that was yesterday. The market not getting too far from 7,400 either way. But it started to unwind during the Asian session and certainly during the European session. Prices falling off. And that means we're left with a bit of an upside gap here. At the moment, it looks as though the market's still fairly bearish. If you're one of those traders who likes to do their first in-sync signal of the day, I guess this one, either of these two signals would have been your first in-sync signal. And I'm not sure. It looks like we could be close to the profit target already. If you were, oh, look at that, just kissed the profit target. Well, if you didn't get it the first time, you certainly got it on the second push, but things rather brisk here this morning. Lots of movement, lots of volatility. So I haven't checked any of the news sites. I'm not sure what might be sparking the market. But definitely an active start here to the day. So we saw a brief swing lower. Looks like now the buyers are going to take their kick at the cat. And we're generating some signals here on the Raptor. When you start to see this candy striping happen, when you start to see these background highlights printing and all these signals going on, two things should be crossing your mind. Number one, am I in a sideways trading range? So it's worth your while to scroll back in your chart. You can't ignore the left side of your chart entirely. And I would say, yeah, we're definitely in a bit of a sideways bind. So that should lead you to be a little extra cautious. I recommend you don't focus on trading more or more opportunities, but rather that you look at finding the best opportunities and trying to capitalize on those. And sometimes that means having to wait. We traders hate waiting. We feel like we should be doing something, but sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. here also very congested. Lots of yellow bars cropping in. The trade forecaster says we are in trend mode, but we're quickly changing here into swing mode. I would not be surprised to see it go into a scalp environment after that. So I think it's fairly safe to say we are in a bit of a downtrend here at the moment. I suppose I should just be getting on board here with one of these signals, but it's so fast, it's so erratic. Well, there they go. Wow, what a wild start here to the morning. Okay, is this going to be something resembling a pullback? Am I going to get a second push opportunity to get in? Nope. Oh, look at that. I was waiting on a pullback here, another number 3 signal. This one just coming shy of the hard edge. Unlike this one, you can see it actually intersected the hard edge, but you can see it's the same signal. So this is why it's important to be able to recognize your signals visually, apart from the prompts. Oh, excuse me, had a sneeze come on over me that right away there. So you need to be able to identify your signals apart from the prompts, because sometimes You know, this is a hard edge bounce. This is a number 3 signal. Oh, excuse me, here comes another one. All right, hopefully that's done. And it was still a good signal, still had some decent follow through. But if you did not anticipate it, you would have missed that entirely. And yet it turns out like it was a very good move. Unfortunately, things moving just a little bit too quickly here right now. There should be a little bit of a pullback coming here somewhere, but we've already moved so far since the open. The open was here around 74.60, I think. Yeah, there it is up there. Oh, look at that. Now we're getting the big pullback, the big push higher. Wow, what a roller coaster here this morning. So I think the trend is definitely down. Looks like this little bit of a pullback here may be forming more like a bear flag than a full reversal, at least at this point. Just for curiosity, where's the trend line fall? Oh, look at that. I only do that because I know there's a lot of traders that are going to be throwing a trend line on there, and they're going to look at this and say, oh, look where the market is, time to start selling. And that may give us an opportunity. We'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I think the trend is down. I would probably favor a shorting opportunity versus a buy. So even like a number 2 signal, which would crop up here, could be viewed, see there it is, a number 2 signal. You could view that as being with trend rather than counter trend. Oh, we got a little positive slippage. That's nice. Here now that bear flag style formation that we were looking at on the Raptor. And hooray, got my profit target. I know, that's so unlike me to put a profit target in play. Especially on a morning like today, my goodness, the potential for a bigger move is certainly there. And for a change, I didn't take a stink bomb of a trade at the quarter to the hour mark. We actually got a decent signal and some decent follow through. Now, as before, if your objective is to make $100 a day per contract, well, your trading day could be done. The way to increase those earnings into something more substantial would be to trade multiple contracts. So rather than just trading a single, if you traded 5 contracts, well, that'd be $500. 3 contracts, $300, and so on it goes. I know those of you who are new to the trading system sometimes have difficulty gauging which trade is the better trade. You're getting all kinds of signals. What kind of trade makes for a high probability signal? Well, I think first and foremost, you need to take into consideration the trend. If there is a trend, or if there isn't a trend. I think after what we saw here this morning, the quick move to the short side, I think we could all agree that the market is in a downtrend. After that, your trade becomes a matter of logistics. So you're going to be focusing more on short signals than long signals. You're going to be looking to sell rather than looking to buy. So here's a number 3 signal. There's nothing wrong with this signal. However, trying to structure this trade is going to be a little bit more difficult. As tempting as it is to put your stops right here, that's probably not the best place to put your stops, because as we'll see here in a moment, the market will frequently challenge the last swing, and that would have actually ended up stopping you out. But the trade did eventually work out, but it would have been a real nail biter. What I liked about this trade up here is we had a lot more room down here to work with before the market got anywhere close to retesting the lows. So this gave us a lot of opportunity to get back with the trend. And then of course there was the coincidence with the trend line bouncing off of the highs. That's noteworthy as well. In fact, I probably should have left that trend line on there, shouldn't I? There we go. make sure it still lines up. Oh, not quite. Well, at any rate, this is the current trend line for our purposes. And what happens with these types of trend lines is the market tries to build a sideways trading range, a sideways trading channel. You've seen it on your charts before. You see it in all the trading textbooks. And so when and if prices get down here somewhere, we'll see a little bit more bullishness come back into the market. But for the time being, we'll just kind of leave that on there. There is likely to be a pullback through here somewhere as well. I don't know, it might be a little bit early though for a pullback. Prices are becoming a little more conflicted. You can see here on the Hawk and the Raptor, we got a lot of yellow bars coming in. The Falcon here, the trend line, really starting to waffle. The filter is breaking up. It's starting to look like a tartan, getting all kinds of back and forth going on. All right, here comes another push lower. Again, this would be with trend, even though technically it was a counter trend signal. Oh, no, sorry, my mistake. It wasn't counter trend. It was, here's your hard edge bounce signal right here, which did not print. Once again, this one right here. You got your hard edge bounce, and it did not print because the programming came up just a couple of ticks short of the hard edge. So you could have taken any of these. You could have taken this one or this one. I'm kicking myself a little bit because I was looking at that one and I was thinking, gee, is there enough room here? Or is it going to turn into a bit of a sideways range? Oh well. The seller's just taking the buyers to the woodshed here. You're welcome, Scott. Scott says, thanks for the cloud band counter. For those of you who are wondering what the heck is Scott talking about now, we've put a band counter on the Raptor and the Eagle. So that measures the current distance from the soft edge to the hard edge. The idea being that as the band gets overly broad, and each market will be a little bit different, but it doesn't take long to get a feel for it. But you see here we're over 50 ticks wide already. That makes a reversal a little bit more likely. Yeah, but like Scott just mentions here, it doesn't help much on a trend day. When the market is trending, trend seems to trump all. But it's a good confirmation tool when you're looking at those pesky counter trend signals that always look so tempting. It's just one more piece to the puzzle. At any rate, you can get the band counter from the members area. It is now part of the Raptor download, so you can just go download the latest Raptor and the Eagle as well. I haven't put it here on the Eagle Trend Trader yet, but it is available. Look at that crazy move all the way down here to the bottom end of this potential trading channel. Isn't that wild? What a day. Here's an interesting little thing about trend lines. You see how we've broken this trend channel. A lot of traders will think that this breakout is very bearish, right? We've broken outside the channel to the downside. That makes the market very bearish, when in actual fact, it's probably more bullish. Now that we've broken this bottom end of the trading channel, you can see here we're getting a little bit of a push to the upside. Let's see if we got a buy signal. I might be interested in that. Well, we got one here on the hawk. We've got a green bar sell that I could look to buy on a breakout higher. No, maybe not. No. Here comes another green bar sell. Now, on your hawk scalper, the green bar sell is the signal that does tend to develop near the end of a trend. It's not a signal you need to trade, because very often if the trend is ending, it will develop into a first micro macro cross higher. So the green bar sell, not to be confused with the green bar sell on the Eagle, which tends to be a much more reliable signal. The green bar sell on the hawk can be a little bit less reliable. And this is blatantly a counter trend attempt. So whenever you're trying a counter trend trade, it's important you keep a wide stop, because these markets do not turn on a dime. Come on, get up there. Get up there. Give me the break even. There we go. well, not a bad trade for such a volatile day as today. I don't mind taking the profit there. Let's see, did I get a scalp? Oh yeah, I got my scalp target. So not really any the worse for wear. I do think the market will continue higher here, but you know what? I'm okay taking my profit. Crazy day like today. Look at the ranges. Look at this. We breached the bottom end of the channel, and look at that. We're gonna make a run up now to the top end of this trading range. Or or not. It helps to be choosy. You want to be picky. Wow. Look at the indecision though. Look at how we're waffling again here on the hawk. So we saw a little bit of an uptick, um, but just look at this. You could, even if you haven't been trading for a long time, you should be able to recognize this as, yeah, this is definitely a sideways trading range. That's crazy. I see Antonio's in the room here this morning, and I know Antonio likes to follow the Forex markets. So hold on a second here, Antonio. I will pull over the Euro US dollar pair for you. As soon as my chart loads. Just a perfect hard edge bounce here off of that trading end. All right, so here the Euro US dollar pair. Very civilized here this morning. Got a nice little #1 signal. Great follow through on that. Back into the hard edge. Got a #3 signal. This technically was a #2 signal. It didn't print as such. It must have been too many bars or the retest wasn't high enough. But at any rate, two very respectable signals, and the market actually very tame here this morning. Let's see what else was going on. Oh yeah, wasn't quite so tame during the London session, was it? Once again, you know, when you get this candy striping happening, just recognize that the market is in a sideways trading range, and sometimes you have to wait for it to get outside of that range. Once the market breaks outside this range and stays outside the range, you pretty much have it pegged which way it's going to go. But whenever you're trading within this range, you're pretty much guessing at what might happen. But you can see once it broke to the upside, it became fairly obvious that the market should continue higher. Again, goes back to that whole patience thing, which is much easier said than done. Okay, we're now back into the hard edge one more time. Actually above the hard edge. The cloud hasn't shifted just yet, and of course we've got that top end of the trading range that we've identified, this trading channel. So you just know there's going to be some sellers interested in shorting around there. I know if I was looking to sell, that's where I'd be getting interested, and I am looking to sell. We'll see if we get a decent looking signal here as the market creeps a little bit higher, though. Could put a bit of a bullish slant on the trade. Okay, so we've got a number one signal to buy. Actually, we're pretty much bullish across the board. My thought is that maybe this will be another bear flag type formation. But you can see each leg is getting, while it's still very long, we're not making significant gains anymore to the short side. The overall gains are getting a little bit less. Any gains from here are going to have a hard time getting below these current lows, I think. We may have found the limit here of the morning so far, maybe. Okay, so here now a number two signal. This is kind of my last chance for the sellers. We do have a second push. Oh, you stinkers. Okay, we got a better second push. Let me take that one right there. Okay, so all I'm looking for here is maybe the last chance for the sellers to recover this market and push prices lower. And come on, get down to the break even. Let's go. Oh, whew. Okay. You know, if we're going to see a test of the extreme is down here. There is the potential that the market can move a whole lot lower, but as we were just seeing on the Eagle chart, it's almost getting to that point where maybe, just maybe, the sellers don't have enough left. Maybe they've done all they're going to do for today. The bottom's getting a little bit broader here now. Let me clean up this chart a little. So we have the bottom potentially starting to turn. Okay, well, if my day wasn't done before, it's definitely done now. Interesting how the market broke this trend channel that we were observing, came down, retested it, and bought it up again. Those of you who like to watch things like market profile or volume profile, no doubt there was a significant amount of activity here in this 72.50 range. And I can tell just by how the market reacted. Maybe it was a little bit higher, maybe it was a little bit lower, but the point is, you know, all these indicators and things that we follow, they always show us more or less the same things, certainly the significant things. Let's put that away. It looks like maybe the buyers are going to make a run for it. Everything is stacked bullish now. Our hawk is bullish, falcon is bullish, the eagle, the raptor. Like I said, these transitions take time. I'm not saying we're going to see a full-blown trend reversal here, but as so often happens after a very strong move, the market will tend to move into a bit of a sideways funk. Yeah, or not. Are the sellers really going to push the market back down near the lows? Oh, I know I should be looking to short with the trend, but it's so tempting to consider a buying opportunity, as there's bound to be some profit taking. We're only 45 minutes into the session, but typically about an hour in is when, if there has been a well-established trend, the market will try to reverse on itself. I've always thought it was more due to profit taking than anything else. Regardless what's driving it, It does happen. Okay, so you can see here on the Raptor, we're bouncing off of the lows of the morning, or pardon me, not the morning, but the lows of opening range, that first half hour of trading. With the reversals too, what I find for myself is very often I'll pick up on the potential reversal, but I'll end up getting in too early. You know, like here we got a number 2 signal. It's a valid number 2 signal. You could certainly do a second push entry on it. There's nothing wrong with that signal whatsoever, especially if you feel that the market is bottoming out. The problem is that markets take a long time to turn. So even though this signal may engage, the market may bring me in only to retest the lows, as we're doing right now, before it finally decides to try to reverse and head higher. And that's always the danger. That's why sometimes it's easier to take a follow-up signal rather than the first instance. Here now, the follow-up signal, and you can see we got a little bit more activity. I'm not quite convinced that's even the one to take, but we'll see. All right, so hit the first target, and we'll get the ATR stops going now. Ooh, we're getting a little bit of giddy up. If I don't get tagged on this reverse, I'll move into super trend. Nope. All right, so you know that working out again, not too terribly bad, but it's something to bear in mind. You know, when you're looking at a potential reversal, that sometimes it's worth your while to wait a little bit, or in this case, I set up a second push entry opportunity, something to, so you don't get in too early. I found that that's been a little bit of a problem in the past. There's few things in trading quite as annoying as being right about the trade and still taking a loss on it. All right, so it does appear as though momentum is shifting a little bit. All our tools stacked a little bit more in a bullish way right now. I think, oh, they're not going to give it. I was going to say, I think a move back to the hard edge would definitely be a buy, because we're kind of here in this trading range that we've established, this short little trading range. And you know that a breakout's coming. We've seen the breakout now. We'll look for the retest. Oh, there, a retest right there. And again, a nice little second push opportunity to enter. Covering this trade is going to be a little bit more difficult. You have to cover it at least to the hard edge. Ideally, 2 swings back as usual. I'm not going to take this one. I'm just going to point it out. Somewhere through here, the sellers are likely to try to step up one more time. We've had so much activity here on all our charts with the mean Renko bars. A day like today, it might be worthwhile to even run a parallel chart with a larger tick value, or even a time-based chart, like maybe a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, just so you can get a bit of perspective to see where you're at. Okay, here we are now coming back toward the hard edge around 72.62. That would be a little bit, I would prefer a buy down here versus up here. Because whenever the market encounters the hard edge, this is always where we anticipate a reaction. Let's see what we got going on here, if I can take advantage of something else. Oh, here we go. We have a number 3 signal. That's the hard edge bounce. And I got a second push on this one. Can I cover it? Oh, and they're going to run away on me. All right, so we're just going to pretend that we got the fill here. Now looking for the market to challenge the highs. And if I can get a bar or two, there we go. Got a couple bars in my favor. I would roll my stops up here. Now the stops hit the break-even trigger. And a couple more ticks, and there we go. It looks like the other signal that we looked here on the Eagle is going to work out as well, but there's nothing like taking a bit of heat on a trade to give you sweaty palms. Now you could take this Eagle trade that we were looking at, you could take it up here. You could even roll your stops up here below this particular bar right here. Or honestly, if this bar is hesitating, I would definitely consider a break even, or maybe even taking the profit that I have, because there was a little over $100 in profit there. But compare that to waiting for the hard edge. So the hard edge bounce, we got a better entry. We hit our profit target. Overall, just an easier trade to do. Today has definitely been an exercise in patience. Back now into the hard edge. We should produce a buy signal here. Oh, but see, our tools are starting to get a little conflicted again. We got a bearish hawk and falcon, bullish eagle, and neutral to bullish raptor. Okay, here now the number 3 signal. I'll show it to you. It's not one I'm going to take, but that's where we're at. We got the second push. Come on, get up there. Oh, didn't engage it just yet. Come on, get up there. You can do it. Okay, so now again, you know, we're challenging the highs. At this point, I would probably bring my stops up somewhat. This is always the danger, you know, when you're potentially in a sideways market. Each one of these highs is going to be a pain in the buttocks. And it looks like they're going to tag me out, or would have tagged me out. Yeah, right about there. So it was, you know, a potentially good signal. The market, I don't know, to me it just kind of looks like it's getting a little bit sideways. The lack of follow through, right? I'm always looking for the follow through on each of these legs. And we had big follow through here and less follow through here. So that starts to make me think, what's going on? Where's the momentum going? Is it just going to drift sideways and continue, or is it reversing? And right now it almost looks like it's reversing. Mickey asking, what's that moving average line you have on the Eagle? I think you're referring to this line here. This is the ATR line. Mike Filigera put me onto the system for trading the stock market. And he said, hey, Eric, have you ever noticed that the signals that are in sync with the ATR line work out a lot better than those that don't? Now, this was such a good idea and it worked so well that I asked Ben to put this on the Eagle itself, but maybe he's forgotten to do it. At any rate, I'll show you how to do it. It's really quite straightforward. So you're going to go to your strategies window. Nope, sorry, correction. Indicators window. And you're going to find here in your assortment, you're going to look for something called IW. There it is, IW TM ATR Trail. This is what your trade manager uses to plot your stop strategy. So you can just double click on that and it will show up here in your assortment. You don't need to make any changes, just apply it. And then it will show you your ATR. Now, you can also use your trade manager to do this. You can see if I change my trade manager to 2, it runs exactly along those lines. And it's just a filter. Now, Mike Filigera, he's actually very aggressive with the Eagle. So he'll be looking at, you know, shorting this signal here, even though it's got a bullish band, because it's in sync with the ATR. He'll be buying this signal right here because it's in sync with the ATR. Mike's a much more aggressive trader than I am, and he's a very good trader. but you will find that your signals that are in sync with your ATR will tend to be a little bit more reliable. To that end, the chandelier is also a great tool, and you can do the same thing. You can go to your indicator window and you can find your IWTM chandelier. There we go. Oh no, that's not it. Oh, maybe it is. Anyways, you'll have to experiment. It's in, oh, there it is right there. TM chandelier, trade manager chandelier. So you can double click on that instead, and it will then display your chandelier on your chart. Well, here, why don't I just show you? So we'll remove, oops, sorry. We'll remove the ATR. And we'll put on the chandelier instead. And so here now, oh, it looks like it's plotting it as dots instead of a line, but regardless, it doesn't matter. So what this does is it's going to show you the bias. Now, we're using the chandelier stop or strategy as a stop strategy, but a lot of people use the chandelier as a trend strategy. So what they'll do is they'll look for the chandelier to break, and that will initiate a buy signal. So they'll actually look to buy right here. And you can see that if the market has a trend, it actually works out really well. However, if the market's not trending, you're shorting right there, and the market really doesn't go that far. And then you're buying up here again. It's an always in strategy. So you're always in the market. You're either always long or you're always short. It's, it has its pros and cons. The idea is that if the market does begin trending, your trending phases are going to outweigh your non-trending phases and offset your losses. Although, if you're using profit targets or even relatively aggressive on your stops, you should be able to capitalize even on these types of moves. But it's an interesting idea. As with all things trading related, however, there are no absolutes. It works until it doesn't work. But that's how you can do that. You can put your ATR on there, or your chandelier, or your super trend, or whatever you like, and use that as a filter for deciding whether you want to be more bullish or bearish. Oh, looks like the default line is a little bit light. There we go. That's a little easier to see. So if you're following something like that, at this point, you could be a little bit more bullish across the board on all your signals. There's a lot to be said for waiting for everything to be in sync. Oh, wow. Yeah, Mark says 181 points on the day ranger. And look at how long ago that post was. We're up to 712 on the day ranger. Just an incredible day here this morning. I don't remember the last time we saw that kind of activity on the NASDAQ. Craziness. Okay, back at 72.60. This was a familiar number not that long ago, half hour ago. We'll see here in a moment who's going to be the stronger party. And I don't know, at the moment it looks as though it might be the buyers. There goes the Hawk and the Falcon. Oh, a nice little late filter entry signal here on the Falcon. Trend line was a little steep. That might have given you pause. So the late filter, well, and the fact that it's breaking up quite a bit too, that's not encouraging. This is a pretty late filter entry signal back here. The trend line is relatively flat. The filter goes out of sync, comes back into sync. This one, however, trend line's a little bit steeper. It is also a trend change signal, but it looks like it did work out, or at least get as high as its profit objective, not a whole lot more right now. Definitely helping to be choosy, like I said, on a day like today. I was just about to point out this second push opportunity on this number one signal. I was going to say any signal, any other trade that I would be considering today, I think I would definitely do on a second push, and here the market came and engaged it off of this number three signal. But yeah, 72.60. What a point of congestion and contention. It's going to be a significant number tomorrow, I'm sure. Well, we keep holding this low. What is this now? How many times have we tagged it? 1, 2, 3 times. There's significant buying here. If we break this low, we should see some movement to the downside as the buyers scramble to get out of their positions. If you think the buyers are on the right side, then you can be looking to pick up on any of these buy signals. Okay, there's the break. Let's see if the buyers, there go the buyers. I shouldn't really go in this heavy, but the buyers are pushing. Are they going to follow up? So this, yeah, that did print as a number 2. Okay, and we have yet another number 2 signal. Not an ideal position. This is one of these trades, again, looking at the context, we're sideways. I'm anticipating that maybe the market may try to get higher because of all the hesitation to go lower. This may be a huge retest of the extreme, in which case prices may head higher. But honestly, it's just a little bit of a crapshoot when you're looking at your chart and your chart looks like this. You have your preferences, but really you pays your nickels, you takes your chances. That's really what it amounts to. So we knew this whole area around 72.60. You can see we got a support line here at 72.52.5. This was a significant area. This is where the selling occurred before. This is where the buying occurred before. So I was thinking, all right, well, there's a lot of activity here. The market's slowing. Maybe the buyers are going to try to pick it up. And so far, so good. Now, don't be frustrated if you didn't spot something like that. That is something that you're going to pick up with some screen time. But even so, now we have the signal prompt to buy. We have the number 1 signal. And if this market retreats any further, we should get a number 3 signal. And that should also have a little bit of follow through to it. If the buyers are actually ready to move the market up. Overall, though, it's been a pretty good day today. I find days like today a little bit easier to trade actually than strong trending days. Strong trending days, it seems if you didn't get in right from the get-go, you're shut out for the rest of the session or the rest of the move. Okay, here they come again. Oh, that number 3 signal that I was telling you about to anticipate. There you go. You got your number 3 signal. And I do believe that has found its profit objective so far. Yep. Even the second number 3 signal, it looks like that one also tagged its profit target. So if you didn't get on the first one, you had a chance on the second one. got some semi-serious buying pressure going on here right now. Again, this is a little bit more difficult to see because there's been so much activity here this morning. My goodness, it's almost like one gigantic trading range. But the fact that the move lower has stopped and we've seen a big push up, and every time now the sellers have been trying to move the market lower again, it has been rejected and we've been moving a little bit higher. I don't think we will see, like I say, a full-blown reverse today. Rather some more sideways trading. And the session's getting a little bit old. I know it's barely been an hour and a half since the open, but this is when all the activity seems to happen. Sometimes we'll get a little bit of a spark before the lunch hour break, but for the most part, this is when you get your best opportunities. And look at where we are, right back down to this whole 72.60 zone. Incredible. Well, here we go with another set of signals to the bullish side. I don't know though. The sellers are going to be lurking there somewhere. All right, so we got a trend change signal. We got a first micro macro cross. The Geiger counter is green. We got buy signals across the board, waiting on a number one signal here to produce in the Raptor, which should be the next signal that prints. This is going to be difficult in that, where do we cover this trade? Right? Ideally, we need to cover it way down there. That could be a little difficult. All right, so they're now the number one signal. I'll just demonstrate this for you. Again, I can't help but think we're getting a little bit late in the session, but the buyers making a bit of a stand. So we'll see if they got anything left. Just above here, I think we had the market get knocked down? Yeah, there it is, around 72.80. Possible late filter entry signal here on the Falcon, also to the buy side. Oh, I think I got slipped on that one. I did. They slipped me a tick, but oh, maybe I can get my tick back while I'm waiting on them. Okay, bring my break even up a little. So if we see another push higher, and I'm looking for evidence that the buyers are still here. The Geiger counter very, very strong. Come on, let's get some follow through on that. I hate getting slipped on a trade because it tells me, well, one of two things. Either the market, the orders are coming through really heavy, but more often than not, there's not much participation, in this case, on the short side. That's why the market gapped up and hit my next fill. And I wonder, is that stop going to be too tight? Yep. Gonna get spanked here in a second. I should actually have it below 72.60, you know that, because that's again where all the buying was coming in. I don't think it's going to be enough to hold me in, but that would be the better place to put my stop. Not holding out a whole lot of hope here. Yep, figured as much. It's just getting a little bit too stale, a little bit too late in the day. The market's really starting to enter a sideways range, which again happens after a big trending day. The market starts to drift sideways. All right, gang, I think you can expect more of the same. So you can see, you know, caution definitely in order trading today or for the remainder of the day. After we get outside of this sideways trading range, there may be potential for yet another move. And when in doubt, stay with the trend. So it looks like, you know, you're going to be better off shorting than you will be trying to buy. But like I said, the market in this sideways funk right now. And it's hard to see here on these charts. So what I would do is I would probably take like a daily chart, and you can throw a 5-minute chart and see it's very plain here. You can do this on a 5-minute or a 15-minute. There's your range. This is what we need to see the market get outside of before we can get too serious about buying or selling. Although look at all these tall wicks on these bars here. The market definitely still bearish. I would like to see a bit of a break, a little bit of a retest perhaps, and then look out below. All right, gang. I think we're going to call it a day. It's been a very good trading day today, I have to say. Like I said, if you're trading the remainder of the day, do be careful. I will see you again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.